Okay guys, now I've made a few videos in the past few months featuring reels from Chinese companies. Now surprisingly, these videos have gotten a lot of attention, and rightfully so. Now in the past few years, we've had a couple of new tackle companies that have popped up and have made names for themselves in America and around the world in a relatively short amount of time with the power of internet marketing like Facebook and YouTube. Now, two reels I've done videos on were sent to me by Piscifun, and the other two reels I bought with my own money, the Haibo Steed and the Surunoya XF50. Now, in the comments section of these videos, I always get asked the question, where can I buy this reel or where can I buy this rod? So in this video, I'm going to show you where and how I buy this tackle from China. Now, first of all, what are the reasons you would buy fishing gear from China, you might ask? Well, I can think of a couple. Now, the first and main reason is that it's cheap. Now, when I say cheap, I mean cheap as in affordable. So if you are literally on a shoestring budget and can't afford more mainstream tackle from, Shimano, Abu Garcia, Daiwa, Lew's, etc., buying from China is a great way to be able to fish without breaking the bank. Now, the second reason is the reason that I buy tackle from China sometimes. It's that you can find a lot of little hidden tackle gems when you're doing your search for tackle in China. Rods and reels that fish well above their sales price point, and fishing lures that catch just as many fish as lures costing double or triple the price. Okay, so let's get to it. Now, the only website I use and that you've heard me mention several times is AliExpress. Now, AliExpress is like a Chinese version of Amazon or even eBay. You can literally buy anything on AliExpress, not just fishing tackle. Now, the reason I buy from AliExpress is that they take PayPal, most of the items ship for free, and they have a dispute system and buyer protection system. So that alleviates the fear of potentially getting ripped off. Now, before I get into this, I want to say that I am in no way affiliated with AliExpress or any of the vendors on AliExpress. So if you buy something from AliExpress and have an issue, don't come to me with it. I'm not customer service or tech support. Now, with that being said, let's begin. Now, the first thing you want to do is go open up a web browser. Now, if you want to pause this video and restart it once you have your computer up, then I understand. Or if you want to repeatedly view this video, then I understand as well. Now, go to your web browser and just type aliexpress.com, and you're going to get to the main page that will look something like this. Now, there's a lot of information on this page, so what you want to do is go to the search bar up top. So let's say you're looking for bait casting reels. So you type in bait casting reel in the search bar. So as you see, a shit ton of reels will pop up. Now, what I do is, to be able to view the most options at one time, I click on the gallery view, and that lets you see a lot more reels that are available. Now, if you look up top, you'll see a listing of all the brands of reels that are for sale on AliExpress. And as you can see, there are a ton of brands that you've never even heard of, and there's quite a few brands that you've heard of and know about. Now, don't let the sheer amount of brands confuse you, and I'll get to that later. Okay, so if you're looking for a specific reel, let's say the Haibo Steed, just type in Haibo Steed in the search bar. And that goes the same with rods. So let's say you're looking for a bait casting rod. Now just type it up in the search field. Now, China doesn't have bass that I know of, so the rods and reels are not separated into bass tackle versus other species. In fact, I don't think they even separate the rods and reels between salt and freshwater. So if you see a rod or a reel that you like, just click on it and read all the information, and make sure you scroll all the way to the bottom because they pack a lot of information and pictures, usually in the descriptions when you click on the item that you're interested in. Now, of course, this information is translated, so some of the translations are a little off, but you'll get a good idea of what you're buying because they give you a lot of information on each item. Okay, so now you know how to do a general search on AliExpress. Let me show you how I do a more detailed search. Now, personally, I think of AliExpress in China as a good way to go if you're looking to get into bait finesse fishing without spending a ton of money. Now, as you can see, I've already showed you two reels, the Surinoi XF50 and the Haibo Steed, which are capable of casting light lures. Now we're going to get to the rods, and the reason I say it's great for people who are just getting into bait finesse fishing because sometimes the rods can get just as expensive as the reels when you are looking for a bait finesse rod, specifically if you're looking for one in Japan, because that's where most of the bait finesse rods are. Okay, so let's say you're looking for a finesse baitcaster rod. Now, because there are a ton of rods for sale on AliExpress that would be considered bait finesse rods, they don't have the label bait finesse put on them. So what I do is I search for trout bait casting rod because nobody labels their rods bait finesse, at least for right now. So if you search for a trout bait cast rod, a few options will pop up. Now what you need to do is, if you see a rod that you like, click on it and research the specifications. And be careful because a lot of the times these guys will lump in their spinning and casting rods together, and if you actually want to buy one, you have to make sure you pick the correct rod that you're trying to buy, whether it be a casting rod or a spinning rod. And almost all of the rods are going to be two-piece. Now the specs on AliExpress are going to be in the metric system, so they're going to be measuring the length by meters and the weight by grams. So you're gonna have to do your research as to how tall they are and what the lure range is. Now if you get overwhelmed by all the different choices, now let me tell you from my research and experience, a lot of the reels and rods are 95% the same, but with some little differences in looks and components because the different brands want to separate themselves from each other just a little bit. Now the one great thing about AliExpress is that most of the things for sale there have free shipping. Now just to set the expectation, if you are buying a $3 lure with free shipping, don't expect them to FedEx it to you overnight. That's just ridiculous. Now most things will take a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks to get to you. That's right, a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks, if not more, to get your item. But that's what happens when you get free shipping from around the world. Now the good news is they have usually a tracking number you can track on the USPS website, and they also do have faster shipping options that are pretty affordable that I've heard really speed up the shipping times. Now also, you will also see that there are a lot of flash sales with little countdown timers. They're trying to create this effect that if you don't buy this certain item within this amount of time, that the sale's going to go away and the price is going to go up. So just ignore that. Don't pay them any attention at all. The prices are always usually the same, within a couple of dollars. And in fact, the Surinoi XF50 has been around the same price for months now. So don't get pressured by these quick buy tactics of timers and flash sales and whatnot. Now I'm going to go over one thing that you may need to watch out for. As you can see, AliExpress sells a few reels major brand names like Shimano, Daiwa, Abu Garcia, Penn, etc., etc. Now, I personally have never or will ever buy anything from AliExpress except Chinese brands. Now, I'm sure that these shops are selling legit Shimano, Daiwa, Abu Garcias, etc., but I'm not going to take a chance on getting a counterfeit item. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they are selling counterfeits of the major brand names, but I personally am not going to take that chance. Plus, the prices are not that much cheaper than what you can buy them from on eBay or from Japan. Now, also, as you can see, the prices of the fishing tackle on AliExpress are super affordable. In fact, I don't think there are any reels of rods that I've ever seen that cost over $100. Now, with this in mind, you need to know that this comes at a price. Now, don't expect the smoothness, refinement, power, and durability of a $200 Shimano. Now, if you expect that a $30 to $50 baitcast reel from China is going to have the power, smoothness, refinement, performance, and durability of a Curado from Shimano, then you're just an idiot. Now, this is not a knock on China or the Chinese people. Now, things that were made in Japan were once considered subpar at one time, and now Japan is considered one of the leading manufacturers of quality goods in the world. Okay, so there you go, the Reel Test Guide to Buying Tackle from China, aka AliExpress. And once again, before you buy, do your research. Make sure it's what you want. And the great thing is that if it's not what you want, you didn't spend a ton of money on the item to begin with. Okay guys, thanks a lot.